I got asked in the media center quite a bit, what about the Challenger? What do you have to do to beat the 5 car? I'm like, I don't have to beat the 5 car right now. If we get to Phoenix together, then certainly he will be a competitor I have to beat. But I feel as though you always have to concentrate on yourself and what can you do to be your best. And I feel like when my team's at my best and probably their team's at their best, like, yeah, we're close. It's very, very close. Now the 19 car, he makes it back in. He's going to be, when they're at their best, they're crazy tough to beat as well. So it's just you never know what can happen, and you can't get too far ahead of yourselves because there's 6 races to go to even put yourself in a position to win a championship. So, who knows what happens this next round, and it's shaping up to, you're seeing some of the cream rise to the top when Kyle Larson this time of year, he's on it. He's up front, and the 24 cars ran good all year, and they're running pretty good. They've had an okay start to this playoffs. If I kind of handicap it, it's certainly, the 5 and 11 are really, really close, and you got kind of the 45, was really strong for the first 2, not as strong at Bristol. The 24 has just been steady. I guess it is. And then there's just kind of been everyone else. But you just don't know what happens when we go to Texas. Like, who shows up? And it's just, this sport is so week to week. You just never know. And it's so hard to handicap for that reason.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, right? Going to this next round is how much of a wild card it is. You got Texas, which is, pretty straightforward, you would think. But then after that, Talladega and the Roval. So yeah. What does this mean now for the guys that do advance? Like the Truex, right?
Yep.
Goes right back to the top of the points.
Goes right back to the top. You're giving Goliath another life. So they're a team that, again, when they win big. Usually nobody's even close when they hit it, right? Like, it's just they can really be a juggernaut some weeks, and so. I look at the list, and my original Final 4 are still kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I want to know from you. Interesting. What I want to, maybe you and Travis can. Let's take out tell me someone that is in this the next 8, right?
Yeah.
Who would be a surprise Final 4? Let's just say things don't go as everyone plans, right? Where it's Byron, Truex, Hamlin, Larson. Give me someone that surprisingly will make it to the Final 4.
I like Reddick's chances now a lot.
I'm hearing that quite a bit. Understandable. He ran top 3 the first 2. He ran mediocre, kind of at best last night.
My thing is with this next round, right? You got to go to Texas and have a good day. If you can go to Texas and have a good day and get out of Talladega unscathed, and then go to the Roval and be competent, which drivers then are most likely to win at those final 3 tracks before going to Phoenix, which is where I like Tyler Reddick.
Yeah,
like at Homestead.
I'm gonna go Chris Buescher. He's so solid right now. He's putting himself in the top 5 most weeks. And if any one of us 4, have a bad round or 2, which is very possible, the Buschers could, the Keselowskis, like they're fast enough. They have enough speed to make it to the Final 4. So I look at those. I mean, Blaney's will have an uphill battle just because of, he's fighting the same thing Logano's fighting, right? And so I think that, Blaney's will have an uphill battle. It's not impossible. He's gifted. He's good enough. It's just, it's going to be uphill. Chastain hasn't shown the speed really the last, I don't know. You can say Nashville, he definitely was the best car there. But other than that, I just haven't seen the speed out of the one, you see it in glimpses, a little bit during practice. You see it a couple runs during the race here and there, but they certainly don't have this all-out speed. I do think
to me, it's got to be a guy that's showing you that they can win a race.
You would say Buescher then.
Since his win in Nashville, Ross has only had 2 top 10 finishes.
But I will say this about Ross. He is racing way, way smarter. He's understanding that he doesn't have the race-winning speed, so the way he's managing the races is what's keeping him alive most weeks. So
I like the old Ross better, though.
Yeah, you did. I didn't. I just think that, sometimes this is a point in your race team where you're thinking, well, if I don't have race-winning speed this week, how am I going to get the best finish I can get? And I think he's doing that right now. And he's just trying to manage this wave until it hopefully comes back around and they gain speed, right? So because there's ebbs and flows. Like, it's just, you're not the fastest car every week, and you're not going to stay the fastest car every week for the next 10 weeks. There's going to be waves of other cars that start to hit things that show up. And, I think he's just riding this downward wave until it goes back up.
Yeah. What about Bubba? This was a big night for Bubba.
It was, and, certainly he had some bad luck last week at Kansas, but great resilient job by that team to point their way in. And he did his job the very first stage. That was the key, right? I mean, he ran
the first day, right, to qualify.
First day, yeah, good point. It's qualifying. It's everything, right? That is where you get the stage points from, is qualifying well. He did that. I finished P3 in the first stage, and then he managed the race after that. The whole race team did. They did a great job of kind of educating him on the situation. Here's what we got. And, they managed it perfectly, right? They just didn't put themselves in trouble, didn't take any unnecessary risk. And now he moves on to the round of 12. So it's great for, personally for me, that was a fabulous night, right? I won. My 2 cars now go to the round of 12. Great night. Couldn't have been much better for me.
How aware are you of Bubba's situation when you have your own race to manage?
The only time I can see is during caution. So there's a big screen there at Bristol, and under caution, as soon as we get to the straightaway, I'm poking my head, looking through the window, looking at the standings. So I know. Now, I don't know the threat of how far can they go forward, how far, I don't know what lap they're on. I don't know any of that stuff. I just kind of am looking at that constantly. And I knew that throughout the race it was really tight. But as you saw, I mean, I didn't hesitate to lap the 45, 23 or anyone. I'd gotten the bad end of these races so much. I'm wide open. Like, I want to lap as many cars as I can and win for my team.
What I'm curious is, they mentioned it on the broadcast, is that going into this race, the 23 team came up with the math that they needed to score something like 55 points, and history tells them that would be good enough to advance into the next round. Are you a part of that discussion midweek as like, okay, here's what y'all need to do to advance, or are you not really in that?
I kind of leave it up to those guys. They've got some really good engineers and guys that work on the numbers there quite a bit. Yes, there's some guidance from me on that, but they do a great job of preparing the drivers every single week with all the information they need. And really, you just kind of look at past history. I mean, we spoke about it last week on the podcast that somebody was going to stumble. You had all these guys that were plus 18, plus 12, plus 15. Someone was going to have a bad race. Now, we didn't know that Harvick was going to finish where he did. We didn't know Logano was going to get a wreck, but we knew someone was going to stub their toe, and that was going to allow that team an opportunity to point their way in, even though they were 18, 19 points back.
Yeah. MJ seemed to have a good night.
He did. Yeah. I mean, speaking of which, man, I was such a fanboy over Tyler Reddick's suit, the J Balvin suit. I told our president, Steve Letta, make sure I get that suit whenever he's done racing it this evening. So that was super cool collaboration. the car was just sick. It just was. It looked so good. You couldn't really tell on TV, but it had this elephant print like deep down in the kind of the tan color of it.
It's like those basketball jerseys that
it
have
was very
like
faint.
Yeah.
But it was the details that they had on it was cool, and to have Jose come, it's so cool.
Yeah, it was a cool night for Tyler and that whole partnership.
Yeah, and you saw Michael to the very end was sitting on the pit box, and he's right behind poor Booty. He's he's nervous anyway of what's going on out there. He's got MJ talking in his ear, asking questions, and that just shows the passion that Michael has for this race team and the people that we've hired, and it's great. It goes a long way, certainly to our employees, to see how passionate Michael is about the performance of the race team, and glad we're doing a great job for him.
Speaking of mentally strong, I mean, Booty's got to sit up there, call this race, coach Bubba, right? Keep him level, all while Michael Jordan's sitting behind him. Like,
toughest job in the industry.
Give him a shoulder massage.
Yeah, Booty's got the toughest job in the industry, no doubt. Most of that is trying to get in Bubba's head. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's been great. I'm really happy with where that team's at, and obviously they've already exceeded goals. Now you just keep digging, just keep putting solid runs together. The round of 12 will be no different than the round of 16. There will still be guys that stub their toe that have bad days, and if you can put together two, he's at such a point disadvantage. He's going to need to finish top 15 every week, be top 10 two out of the three, and he's probably going to have to get 30 stage points, 25, 30 stage points during this round to make it, which is all feasible. They can do it, especially with the tracks coming up. So we'll see how it goes, but I think we're shaping up for a great round in the playoffs for all the drivers, and I'm excited to see how it turns out for everyone.
Yeah, what's your expectations these next 3 races?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. We tested at the Texas Motor Speedway during the summer on a new tire there. The 11 team did. So I think that, we should be pretty good when we go there. Talladega, who knows? Roval, who knows, right? So we just hope we put together some solid races here in the next few weeks. And you don't want to go into the Roval sweating points. That's just, we want to get the work done early in this round. That's my mindset.
Yeah, someone's going to sleep really well if one of these 12 playoff drivers wins Texas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're going to have a good 3 weeks.
This is an important race, no doubt, for especially for the guys that are the probably me through Reddick, right? We're all we're in a good points spot, not great, but it's everyone really is. This is an important event for those competing in the round of 12, because you can't count on, well, we're going to be great at Talladega. We can be great and get taken out. The Roval, now they've added the stage cautions there. Who knows, right? You get taken out and restart there. So you just never know.